What's up, everybody? It's Kyler James. I'm here representing from Move GST here at Criticalbench. I'm going to teach you guys how to do the planche today. All right, so the first thing you guys have to understand is what protraction and retraction is. So protraction is moving the scapula across the back. Retraction is pulling the shoulder blades together. Scapula is another word for shoulder blade. All right, so we have to learn protraction and depression. Okay, that's how we lock in the planche. So if we get into a push-up position, we're gonna push the shoulders forward and lock them down like this, all right? That's the first position. Second thing you have to understand is the hollow shape. So you need to take your hips and tuck them forward like this, like you're squeezing your glutes and tucking your tailbone in, all right? So this is the shape that we wanna hold in the planche. Okay, so to learn the planche, we're gonna work on scapular push-ups first. So when we gain control of the shoulder blades, we can hold a really strong position in the planche. So we're gonna start on the floor, and I want you guys to feel what it's like to isolate just the movement of the back, okay? So the elbows stay locked out, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then spreading them across the back. Okay? Next thing we wanna work on is keeping the core hollow. So to strengthen this, we can do what's called a ring rollout. All right, so get yourself a pair of rings, set them up a few inches from the floor. You can start on your knees. We're gonna roll the rings out, keep the core tight, keep the butt tucked in, and then pull it back in. You can make this harder. Coming up into a plank position. Try to keep the low back from extending, okay? Some harder progressions, all right? So if we wanna start warming up the planche, we can do bent arm work. So I highly recommend combining bent arm work with your straight arm work, just to be more well-rounded so that we're working the full range of motion, okay? So we come to the hollow position. I've got my pelvis tilted posteriorly, my shoulders are protracted, and I'm gripping the floor like this. So we're gonna come to a moderate lean. We're gonna drop the chest down. See if we can get thighs and chin contact to the floor. Keep the rest of the body hollow. As you get more advanced, you can start leaning forward more. Okay? Key thing here, you guys, is gripping the floor with your fingers. See, if I have lazy hands like this, it's no good. I've got nothing to push against. So we're gonna grip the floor like we're doing a handstand, okay? Okay, so on top of the dynamic work, we want to work on the actual skill and accumulate time in that position. So one way that we can do that is with planche leans, okay? So rather than just doing this out in the middle of the room, we can use the wall as a reference to how intense we're actually leaning forward. So if I had chalk or something, I could measure my progress as I go in how far away I'm getting from the wall. So we start in the same position, get the hollow shape. Really critical here, you guys, is don't let your hips pike. I used to think I was getting the planche and my hips were way up here. That's not the deal. You want to push the hips down towards the floor, okay? Then we just lean forward. See if we can touch the head to the wall. We're gonna hold for 12 to 15 seconds. All right, then we're gonna push back. Take a rest, take a rest, and you'll do another few sets. Okay, so the next progression we're gonna work on is the tuck planche. So once we've become pretty proficient at our leans and we can get the hands almost underneath the hips, it's time to take it to the next level where we're actually holding up our whole body weight. So come to the floor. You can start from a squat if you like, or from your knees, whichever way you prefer. So we're gonna make that same basic shapes, splay the fingers, curl the second knuckle, and we're just gonna keep the knees tucked, lean forward, see if we can hold this position with the knees between the arms. Same idea. We wanna get 10 to 12 seconds there. And then we just start decreasing the leverage, okay? So ways that we can do that is we can go from tuck to advanced tuck. Okay, advanced tuck to straddle. Ultimately, you want to get the full planche, but you got to be fresh for that. So yeah, ways that we can build up the strength to transition into the planche is with handstand presses. So, real easy way to get into that is, if you have your handstand, of course, is just to kick up and work on a straddle negative. So I'll demonstrate. Grip the floor always. We're gonna kick up, catch ourselves here. Want to straddle out. You want to stay nice and compact. Okay. Push into that. That's 1 rep. Of course, once we become proficient there, we're gonna start working on the positive. Okay, so Stalder press. Start here and lean back. Getting this position will really help get your planche. Okay, so one common mistake that a lot of people make is when they're leaning into their planche, they're actually piking a lot. It's one of 2 common mistakes. So I'll show you what the first one looks like. So say we're down here, I'm like, oh shit, I'm just gonna lean into this planche. But what happens is my hips come up and then I'm here and I'm like, oh man, I got the planche. It's not right. So I want you guys to work on keeping the hips as low as possible as you lean into this. Your hands are gonna come slightly off the floor. So you're not gonna be able to keep your wrist fully flat. You're gonna kind of come up on the first knuckle. All right, so watch my hands. Fuck, I can do better than that. Anyways, that's the first mistake. Second mistake that a lot of people make is extending their low back. So this one's perhaps even more common. So I see people, they're going for their straddle planche, and then their butt comes way up here like this, and that doesn't look too good. So we want to make sure that we're keeping the pelvis tucked posteriorly. All right, so think about pulling your pubis bone up towards your sternum and contracting your core. It's gonna make it a lot prettier when you finally get the line. Some accessory exercises to help build that strength is working on hip extension. Yourself a platform, and it could be a bench, it could be anything elevated, and you just wanna work on getting that hip extension from the low back, all right? So repping these out is gonna make your planche hold a lot stronger. I'd recommend doing maybe 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps of that exercise. All right, you guys, so these are a few progressions that you can use to learn your planche. However, I can't really explain everything that goes into the planche in this format. So if you want to learn, come see me at Move GST, and I can give you some private lessons, or shoot me a DM on Instagram. Show me what your planche looks like, and I'll try to help you out however I can.